There are over 1,000 mosques, many of them former churches.
Oh my God! What is wrong with you? We can't please you, can you? If you know, you moan about the fact that they build more mosques than churches, and then you moan about the fact that they use old churches. Good, use the churches. In this country, we have a 20% fucking attendance rate at church. That includes people who have weddings and funerals who ain't fucking religious in the first place. We don't go to fucking church. If you know, I'd rather they did. Can't we just do a Part X on fucking? Here we go. We'll sell you Canterbury Cathedral. None of us are fucking using it. You know, it's their fault. They're praying to the wrong God in there. I mean, God, Yahweh must be confused as fuck.
In the Netherlands, 50% of all newborns are Muslim. And in only 15 years, half of the population of the Netherlands will be Muslim.
That one is hysterical, right? In the Dutch Official Office of Statistics, the Netherlands statistics, in Holland and the Netherlands, 5%. And for half of the babies being born in Holland to be Muslim, the Muslim women would have to be giving birth at a rate that is 14 times greater than their non-Muslims countrymen. 14 to fuck off.
In Russia, there are over 23 million Muslims. That's 1 out of 5 Russians. 40% of the entire Russian army will be Islamic in just a few short years.
Russia has historically, for a long time, for hundreds of years, had a great Muslim population because they brought in certain regions in the North Caucasus, which were Muslim countries and Muslim areas, into the Russian to become part of Russia. So they've always had that. That's nothing new. And the projection of 40% being Russian military, well, that's really based on the fact that Russia currently has conscription. But because there's such a big commitment in Russia at the moment to try and end conscription into the army, it's actually very unlikely that the army in Russia will have such a huge representative of Muslims. They'll actually be underrepresented. A real idea of how stupid that 40% estimation is. This was the question that was asked by the BBC. They were put it to a guy called Dr. Jonathan Eel. Now, Dr. Jonathan Eel is the Director of International Security Standards at the Royal United Services Institute. This is an official voice on the subject, and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the Russian military. And in his opinion, the idea that the Russian army would be 40% Muslim in a few short years is, and I quote, complete poppycock, a phrase that has not been used since 1904.
Currently in Belgium, 25% of the population and 50% of all newborns are Muslim.
Belgium, right, the most boring place in the world. Did you know it has more motorway lighting than any other country? Belgium, Official Office of Statistics, the Muslim population of Belgium was representative of 6%. 6. Just 6. 6. 6.
The government of Belgium has stated 1/3 of all European children will be born to Muslim families by 2025, just 17 years away. The German government, the first to talk about this publicly.
In other words, you phoned the Germans up and they wanted fuck all to do with you.
Recently released a statement saying...
They released a statement. What that actually means is, quote, mind the fuck out of them.
The fall in the German population can no longer be stopped. Its downward spiral is no longer reversible. It will be a Muslim state by the year 2050.
You can see that he's quoted that, he's attributed that quote to the Federal Statistics Office. Now, the guy who was actually attributed to that particular quote was the Vice President, Mr. Walter Rademacher. Herr Rademacher is now the official chief statistician for the EU. And this is what he said about that quote.
The quotation, which reads as if the German government believed that Germany would become a Muslim state, is simply not true. There is no source which can be quoted that the German government has published such kind of an expression or opinion. So I feel very mad. It's the situation where you as a statistician feel very uncomfortable because the message of the publication has been turned upside down. I think this is the worst way to use statistical data.
And you don't like the Germans when they're mad.
There are currently 52 million Muslims in Europe. The German government said that number is expected to double in the next 20 years to 104 million.
Really? Well, I'll tell you, let's Walter, oi, Fritz.
No, that is not true. The German government does not believe that the Muslim population will double in the next 40 or 50 years. There are no reliable sources that give a proof for that assumption.
Between 2001 and 2006, Canada's population increased by 1.6 million. 1.2 of those, immigration.
Again, this is 2001-2006. The number's not far off. It was 1.1 was immigration, but again, that was all immigration, not just Muslims.
In 1970, there were 100,000 Muslims in America. Today, there are over 9 million.
The Pew Institute, responsible for many polls, as you're sure, the Pew poll, as you may hear often, the Pew poll estimated that in America right now there are 2.35 million Muslims. That's more closer. So that's actually less than what we've got in Britain, which was a bollocks number anyway.
The world is changing. It's time to wake up.
I'm not saying Islam is great and wonderful, and we're all fucking, and there's nothing that should be done. What I am saying is this: if you want to fucking argue a point, and you have to make shit up, or you have to lie, or mislead people, how fucking valid is your argument? I would rather that everybody sort of let go of all this bullshit. But I'm not going to sit here and fucking let someone like this cunt sit there and blatantly lie just to spread his own message. If you're an atheist and you're watching this and you want to criticise me and accuse me of being one of these Islamic sympathisers who's letting him get away with murder, I want you to listen to this part of the end of this video.
As believers, we call upon you to join the effort to share the gospel message with the changing world. This is a call to action.
Yeah, you heard that right. Share the gospel. This is Christian fundamentalist propaganda. And if you're going to sit there and accuse me of defending Islam, then you are defending fundamentalist Christians just as much. And that is no better. Thank you very much. This is Richard the Dick Coughlan 666 saying good night, may God bless.